Welcome back again, Forging friends. We are at 5 decks left in this box. Let's pick up a new one and see what we get today. And I wanted to let you guys know that this month Winds of Exchange should be releasing. I should receive a display or two whenever they all go out. And I do plan to do an opening for that, so if you're interested in that, I encourage you to stay tuned and subscribe. All right, let's see what we have today. We've got a Dis Untamed Brobnar deck. Oh, man. We'll see if it's a good one this time. We've got Eltagrim Butch Bobathar with a very winged Archon. Looks like it's very happy. We'll see if we'll be happy once we open it. And squaring it up, putting down the Archon card. We're starting with Untamed here. We've got the rare Creed of Nature. I haven't seen this artifact. Omni, sacrifice Creed of Nature. If you do, choose a creature. For the remainder of the turn, that creature gains Skirmish and Assault X. X is its power. Oh, wow. Okay, so you have to sacrifice this card to do that, and it makes one creature really good at fighting. So that's really good with Brobnar, potentially. If we have a lot of Brobnar creatures, we may, give one Skirmish and Assault, so be able to do basically double its attack. So we're looking for, as always, very big Brobnar creatures, and hopefully a lot of them too. Maybe some good Untamed fighters too. We have a Wild Spirit upgrade, Amber when you play it, and this creature gains Reap, capture 1 Amber. A little bit of capture in Untamed. We've got the Feathered Shaman, a 2-power creature with Elusive and Fight Reap, ward each of the Feathered Shaman's neighbors. Good to get some protection in there. Flaxia, good first turn play, a 4-power creature with play, gain 2 Amber if you control more creatures than your opponent. Unsuspecting Prey is an action card with play, deal 2 damage to up to 3 undamaged creatures. Good damage spreading. Unnatural Selection, action card with an Amber Pip. Play, choose 3 friendly creatures and 3 enemy creatures. Destroy each other creature. Great board control card. Song of the Wild, an action card with play. For the remainder of the turn, each friendly creature gains Reap, gain 1 Amber. Well, let's hope we have a lot of Untamed creatures too. Rustnar is a 4-power creature with Fight, destroy an artifact. If that artifact had an Amber bonus, you gain that much Amber. A little bit of artifact control there is good. Molfin, a 3-power creature with Hazardous 3, and after Amber is stolen from you, deal 1 damage to each enemy creature for each Amber stolen. Great. Steel Disruption. Harmonia, a 2-power creature with Elusive, and after you play a creature, if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, gain 1 Amber. Usually just a body on the board, but when her effect pops off, it's nice. We have a Ghost Hawk, great with that Song of the Wild. A 2-power creature with deploy and play. You may reap with each a neighboring creature 1 at a time. We want to see it in multiples. Can we? Nope. Deepwood Druid is a 3-power creature with deploy and play reap, fully heal a neighboring creature. Got some heals. Moving on to Dis, we have Lesser Oxtet, a rare 3-power creature with Elusive and play purge each card in your hand and reap keys cost +3 Amber during your opponent's next turn. So, you definitely would like to play this, ideally when you have few or 0 Untamed cards, discards in your hand other than him, or cards in general. He's a little bit easy to hit. He's got Elusive, but we definitely need something else to protect him if we want to keep his Reap effect from going away. I think there's a similar card, Red Regalum in Saurians, that's way better than this guy. We have Hysteria, an action card with play. Return each creature to its owner's hand. Really good with play effects. We have any good play effects here, like Rotgrub. 1-power creature with play. Your opponent loses 1 Amber and reap Archive Rotgrub. Just a nice annoying card. We have Misery Exploit, a action card with play. Gain 1 Amber for each damaged enemy creature. And we have 2 of those. Need to see some damage spreading for these to be useful. Malison is a 5-power creature with Fight. You may move an enemy creature anywhere in its controller's battle line. Then, if it's on a flank, it captures 1 Amber from its own side. Okay. We got Lilithal, a 5-power creature with Fight Reap, capture 1 Amber. 2 of those. Got an Infernus, a 4-power creature with play. Purge up to 2 cards from a discard pile. Your opponent loses amber equal to the total amber bonus of the purge cards. This card is great, especially in multiples. Can we get at least 2? Second one, please. Nope. Inspector, a 2-power creature with destroyed. Purge a random card from your opponent's hand. Good disruption. Harbinger of Doom, a 2-power creature with 3 armor, and destroyed. Destroy each creature. Nice to have if we had good ways of destroying him in our own hand. Got Buzzle, a 3-power creature with skirmish, and play fight. You may purge one of Buzzle's neighbors. If you do, ready Buzzle. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's in a Brobnar. We have a very cool looking Maverick Exhume. That is super cool. Oh man, I love seeing Mavericks like that. That's awesome. We really got to hope we have a lot of really good creatures in that Brobnar to do that. That's really cool. It's a action card with an Amber Pip, and choose a creature in your discard pile. You may play that creature as if it belonged to the active house and was in your hand. So let's hope we have some Brobnars with play abilities, but also we can reuse that Infernus with this too. That's great. Mog Hunter's Brew is an action card with a Amber Pip. Play, give a creature 2/1 power counters. So we can safely assume we have a Mog Hunter in this deck. And there's Mega Mog Hunter, an 8-power creature with fight, deal 2 damage to a flank creature. So far so good. Let's keep the creatures up here. We've got the Flex, an action card with play. Choose a ready, friendly Brobnar creature, exhaust it, and gain amber equal to half its power, rounding down the gain. So with that, that'd be a 4 amber reap, basically. Pretty cool. Let's see if we have more. We have Gravel Guts. That could be good. A 5-power creature with after an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Gravel Guts, give Gravel Guts 2/1 power counters. 2 solid creatures so far. 2 decent creatures. Got Tremor, an action card with play, stun a creature and each of its neighbors. Good creature control. Stiltkin, a 2-power creature with skirmish, and after a giant creature is played adjacent to Stiltkin, ready and fight with Stiltkin. Okay. Still a creature. Hey, we have Gengar Chieftain. Fantastic. A 5-power creature with play. You may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. That'd be a fantastic card to play with that Maverick Exhume. Play him once when he dies, play him again. Pretty cool. Oh, we have 2 of him. Yeah, that's great. Fantastic. So far, so good. Barn Raising, an action card with play. For the remainder of the turn, your opponent loses 1 amber each time a friendly creature fights. Well, with the ability to use 2 Gengar Chieftains and Exhume one, we could probably get a good use out of this card if we really wanted to. We've got Alaka, a 4-power creature with, if you have used a creature to fight this turn, Alaka enters play ready. Could be likely in this deck. And we have 2 of her. I believe that's the last card of the deck. So probably one of our best Brobnars we've opened so far on the channel. Definitely going to be probably one of our better SAS decks. I will do the count splitting up, and I will be right back. Welcome back. I've gone ahead and separated out the cards. So let's do our counts. Let's do creatures first. Let's see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 creatures. That's pretty good. That's on the upper echelon of Worlds Collide creature counts. Love to see that. Good to see. Good to see. Then we'll look at our amber on the cards. Since we have so many creatures, and I think 7 of them are in Untamed, we can pretty much guarantee at least, I would say, 2 amber off of this. I'm just going to be conservative and say 2 amber. So we'll say 2. And we have a lot of fighty creatures, so I think we can get some damage. Maybe 1 for each of these. So we'll say 3, 4, 5. And I think we have an average of maybe 2 amber on our Brobnars. So we'll say 6, 7, and 8, right? So we go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 amber on the cards. Okay, so that's pretty low, but I think we have a creature count that kind of makes up for it with the reaping and just the effects we have. Since we have a lot of creatures, maybe we can also include this Flaxy in that count. So that'd be 2 more. So that'd be a 10 amber. I don't think we have anything else that in kind of, maybe the Ghost Hawk too, actually. So we could say 12 amber, actually, on the cards itself. Nothing else really, I think, does that for us. So yeah, 12 amber on the cards is pretty good. I think, considering how many creatures we have. Now we look at, let's see, Amber Control first. Let's look at Amber Control. So for Amber Control, we have, let's see, it doesn't really stop them from taking the Amber. So we have this guy, increases their key cost. So that's 1, 2, 3 for sure, 4, 5, 6, 6 so far. Anything in here? Nothing in there. And then in here we've got this. So, and we probably get to use this since we have, I think, 7 Brobnar creatures too. So that's 7 Amber Control. Pretty good. I like that. And then we move on to Artifact Control. I don't think we have that much. I think literally the only Artifact Control we have is this Rustnower guy, and he has to fight. So if our opponent has a problematic artifact, we just got to find any way we can to get this guy to fight at least once safely and get rid of that problematic artifact. So, especially if they have like a Quixel Stone or something that prevents us from playing a lot of creatures since we have so many. Looking at creature control, anything that does some extra damage to creatures. Let's see. Oh yeah, so we have a board wipe here. I think that's the first creature control we had, right? Yeah, just the board wipe there. This kind of is creature control, but it's very specific, so I'll count that as half, since it does damage to creatures, but only if Amber is stolen. So we'll say half, and then for the Harbinger of Doom, we'll say 1. So 1.5, and 2.5, 2.5 in the creatures themselves. In here, I don't know. No. So 2.5 so far. This lets us do more fight damage, and we have quite a few creatures, so I think we can count that as a 3. So that'd be as 1, so that'd be a 3.5, 4.5. This is sort of creature control because it returns them to the hand, so we'll say 5.5, 6.5, 6.5 creature control. That's pretty good too. I mean, considering what we have going on here, I kind of like having that extra kind of option. So then looking at efficiency, I don't think we have anything that inherently increases our efficiency. The only thing I can think of, and this is a bit of a stretch, is if you really don't want to use some cards in your hand, you can play this guy and purge a bunch of cards in your hand, thereby reducing the size of your hand and overall the size of your deck. So say you only really want to focus on 2 out of 3 of your houses, and you have this guy in a hand with a bunch of other cards that you don't really want to use, you can get rid of those 5 or so other cards, never have to see them again, and effectively have like a 31 card deck. Which I guess that would be a better strategy in a long game. I don't know off the top of my head if there are any cards in here that I wouldn't care to see again. Maybe some of these healers, if I don't really want to see like Harmonia, Feathered Shaman, or Deepwood Druid again, I might decide to get rid of those. But I think a lot of our creatures are pretty useful, especially that Infernus, and I wouldn't want to get rid of many of those. But that's a game by game kind of evaluation. But I think overall, our efficiency is going to be 0 because we have nothing that gives us chains or anything that really lets us archive or draw extra cards. Looking at a recursion, we have a couple things that let us recur cards. So we have the, let's see, we have no creatures that let us recur, I don't believe. Right? Yeah, so I think we just have actions that let us recur things. We have that Exhume, that's one recursion card. We can bring something back. We also have this very interesting Hysteria that I'm pretty excited about in this deck because we have a decent number of play effects on our creatures, right? So how many creatures can we use play effects for? Well, we have a lot of creatures. So this Phylloxera, like we said before, we could probably use that. So that's one use for that Hysteria. We could probably use this again. Since we have so many Brobnar guys that'll be fighting, that might be useful twice. This again for the Hysteria. So that's 3 cards so far. We definitely don't want to do that twice, unless we do, but that'd be a very case-by-case basis. 4. Maybe 5. We'll say 4. We'll say 5. 6, for sure. 7, 8. So yeah, 8 different creatures out of our 23 that we could use with that play effect. And if we have multiple of those out on the board at the same time, we may be able to get, several of those play effects a second time, which would be great, especially with that Infernus. With that Infernus, we only have one, but we could potentially get 3 uses out of it with itself, Hysteria, and Exhume. And it's great that we can exhume it on a Brobnar turn, so we can both reduce their Amber down on a turn for Brobnar, whereas typically Brobnar is not the greatest Amber control house, but we have an ability to do that on a Brobnar turn, which is really interesting. So I think we said 2 recursion with the Exhume and the Hysteria. And then finally we're looking at Disruption, which is anything that kind of denies our opponent's cards. So anything that will deny them having cards. So I would say that's a little bit of disruption because it gets rid of an artifact, right? Well, that's more artifact control, right? So, the cards from their hand mainly is what we're looking at. Let's see, cards. So this one right there, that's denying them cards from their discard pile. So that's cards that go back into their deck, right? It's purging them. So that's 2. What else we got here? 2 so far. Nothing else is denying there. That's kind of a denying creatures because they're returning to their board. So that's 3. 3 disruption. So this deck's got a little bit of everything, mostly creatures. It's got, I think the creature suite is probably the strongest point of this deck. Like some of the Untamed are a little weak, but the Dis and the Brobnar together, I think the Brobnar is probably one of the best Brobnar creature pods that I've seen in a while. I mean, 2 Ginger Chieftains really make this good, and even the Stiltkin might find some use in this. And you could exhume back something. You could fight with something, and maybe exhume back an Alaka, Reap, or fight with the Alaka, play another Alaka to fight, Reap, it's pretty cool. Gravel Guts can get really big, and you can use that flex with Gravel Guts, depending on how long he survives. You could get up to maybe 10 power, and you could use the flex to get 5 Amber out of him, or 4 with the Mega Mog Hunter. So, and if you use Mog Hunter's Brew on something, it gets even bigger. So there's a lot of potential here for just getting a big board state. But I think this deck's goal is going to be to really control the opponent's board and to reap a whole bunch, which is kind of a basic strategy. But of that strategy, I think this deck will probably do it pretty well. But I have to give it a rating, what I think it's going to be. So this is a tough one because, even though it's got the Brobnar and it's got some synergy, I don't know that it's going to be viewed by the SAS system very, very well. But, comparing one deck to another, this is definitely better than that last deck we had with like the 55-ish SAS. So I'm going to say, this one's in the maybe mid to high 60s, I'm kind of feeling this deck a little bit. I kind of want to play it and give it a shot. I'm going to give this one a guess of, let's go with a 66. I don't think it's quite good enough to get to 70s. There's not much in terms of a lot of Amber control, which is really key. Being able to stop your opponent's game plan is what's really, really key. And it can do that with creatures, but if our opponent has any powerful action cards, we're not going to really be able to handle that super well with this deck. We can't really bounce back because we don't have too much Amber on our own action cards or any really super disruptive action cards. So that's my thought here. I'm going to say 66. Go ahead and start making your predictions, and we'll head to my desktop. All right, welcome back to my desktop. I have the link copied, and we will go ahead and see what this deck does. Like I said, I think this deck is it's a lot better than the other Brobnar pods we've seen. And it's got a decent Untamed and a good Dis to support it. So I'm going to go ahead and guess a 66, lock it in. You go ahead and make your guess now, and we will see what we have. 55! Oh my gosh, it's the exact same. It rates this deck the exact same as that other one. I wonder why. This one seems so much better than that last deck we saw. It's the exact same. That is really interesting. Let's see if we can learn why this is. Okay. So for the Amber control, all the things that we mentioned that would be Amber control are, it has Wild Spirit in there. Wild Spirit is this that lets you capture one. So I did miss that card. But even then, It didn't. It's one more Amber control card. But I guess the Amber control cards that we counted aren't very strong. Like it's rating Lesser Octet very low, and but Infernus is like the highest, right? Infernus is great, and Rock Grub is great because it's recurable. Ember, we have Expected. Rustnar is very low because the amber you get off of its effect is very inconsistent. Because not many artifacts have amber pips. Not all of them do. Flaxia is the highest. We have a high number of creatures. So there's that. Artifact control is just the Rustnar. Creature control is all the things we counted. Plus the Stiltkin, Creative Nature. Okay, well, that's that. Our speed is low. The Hysteria is lowering our speed too, right? Because we add creatures back to our hands. But ideally, we would try to use that on a disc turn with that Infernus. I think that's the best use of our Hysteria, that Infernus. Or maybe on a Brobnar turn, if we can reuse both Ganger Chieftains in one turn, that might be huge too. But I mean, like, we would have to play it and then use Brobnar the next turn too, right? Our board power is pretty good. It's pretty high. So we lost. Our basic arc wasn't very good. We have 19, 18, 18. Very low SAS scores here. But I kind of feel like we can use some of this really good. This seems like a much better deck than that last deck. Only -1 anti-synergy. Okay. Well, let's see. We have that Infernus. I guess it's just because Brobnar's here and fighting is just inherently a lot less powerful than other things that other houses do. But I really thought this would be a much more powerful deck. Let's have a look at our synergies and see if we can make sense of that. So for Infernus, we have a 33% on things that replay creatures like Hysteria. So that's good. And we have the Exhume, so that's why Infernus is really, really good here. Then we also have, let's see, Exhume is good with good creatures. We have a few good creatures for the Exhume. We have the Flaxia. That's got a high creature count. And let's see. So that, yeah, because we have a high creature count, the Flaxia. Yeah, so we have a high creature count. So the Flaxia is going to be pretty good, like we thought. And then we have, let's see, unnatural section. We have -100 because of our high creature count. But I mean, that's a last resort card, right? And since we have so many creatures, if we're really running behind, then we can go ahead and use that to prevent our opponent from kind of keeping our board controlling us too much. We've got 3 creatures or 2 creatures with Skirmish, but we also have that Creative Nature that increases or gives creatures Skirmish, so that's good too. We got the Hysteria and the Exhume for the Ganger Chieftain. Let's see, 50% on Malison, things that cause fighting Ganger Chieftain. So yeah, we could fight with the Malison because the Ganger Chieftain is pretty good. Mega Mog Hunter, same reason. Nothing super. So this is Harmonium -60 for the high creature count. I'm not gonna get a good use out of her. Alaka, 50% and 45% because we have things that bring it back, and we have a synergy with things that stick around, right? Gravel Guts and Mega Mog Hunter, unless there's like an outright destroy effect, will probably stay around for a while. Stiltkin's good because we have a lot of giants. So we have another negative here because we have a high creature count. Harbinger of Doom's hurting us quite a bit too. So whenever we see Harbinger of Doom, my inclination is to think, oh, okay, that's great because it's good to have a board wipe, but not necessarily if he's a dead card in most games because we have a high creature count. So I can see that being a problem. Moving down, you can't quite see down here, but we have another -100 with Hysteria because of our high creature count, which makes sense. So I think what really hurt us is that we have some good synergy here, but we have some cards that offer anti-synergies. We only have -1 anti-synergy, so it's not really what caused this to be super low. But I think it's just the combination of houses here and the fact that having your strat be around fighting so much, you know, our strat's heavily around fighting and heavily around making use of very specific cards like the Flex. You know, the Flex is going to be one of our main Amber generators. aside from reaping. And it'll be bad if, you know, we happen to draw it in our hand and we can't use it because we don't have any worthwhile creatures to use it on at the time. But we have a lot of 5-power creatures, so we'll at least get 2 amber out of it, you know? 4 and 5-power creatures. So I don't know that it's going to be that hard unless we have like a full untamed board. If our board is only full of untamed creatures, that could be a problem. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have any idea why exactly this deck is rated so low, why the base arc is so low, let me know. Like, leave a comment, because I'm curious. Like, what can we do going forward if we see a deck like this to know, oh, it's going to be a low SAS. I'm not sure exactly why the base arc is so low. I guess it's just the meta around Worlds Collide is just so unpredictable, and having such a straightforward, honest strategy like this is kind of easy to predict and easy to play around, right? This might be a really easy to play around deck in general, right? So you're looking for strats outside of just fighting and reaping, which this deck is seemingly wanting to do the most of. But yeah, if you like this content and you like this video, I appreciate a like. If you want to see more of this, I appreciate you subscribing. Thank you all for watching, and have a good day. Bye-bye.